Hariom, hope you're all doing well. It's been a long time we haven't met. I pray that God will be with you in every step you take, and let's hope for the good things to happen. Stay safe and take good care of yourself. Now let's get into the class with a prayer. Close your eyes slowly. Take a deep breath and chant Om 3 times.
सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम्.
This video is about Class 7, Unit 3, History, Rise of Marathas and Peshwas. In the above video, you might have seen about the introduction of Marathas and Peshwas, then the geographical features, Bhakti movement of Marathas, consultation of Maratha power, about Shivaji and Aurangzeb, and the Maratha administration, Shambhuji, all these things. Next, you might have learnt about Peshwas. Now, we are going to learn about the prominent Maratha families. Learning objective of this video: to examine how the Marathas were responsible for the decline of Mughals, to assess the role of Peshwas in carrying on Maratha power. Now let's get into the video. The prominent Maratha family. So now we are going to see about the family members who were in the Maratha family. Gaikwad at Baroda, Hansal at Nagpur, Holkar at Indore, Shinde at Gwalior, Peshwa at Pune. These 5 things we'll be learning in this video. Bajirao proclaimed wars against Malwa and Gujarat and freed them from Mughal domination. The Mughal army and the troops of Nizam that intervened on behalf of the Mughals were defeated. Bajirao succeeded in getting the recognition of Shahu as a king of Maharashtra and overloaded the rest of Deccan, from which the tribute of Chagh and Sardeshmukhi could be legally collected by the Maratha officials. Bajirao centralized the fiscal functions in Pune. This helped to receive the prompt transmission of tribute from the Deccan. The Maratha army, which consisted of no more than 5,000 horsemen and no artillery, 1720 had doubled its size. Yet they were no match for the Mughals and the Nizam. The success of Marathas against the Mughals was mainly due to the weakness of the latter. The Maratha dominance in the Deccan is also attributed to the qualities of Maratha officials and generals who gave up under Shahu and the Peshwas. So, what happened is Bajirao fought against Malwa, and the Mughal army and the troops of Nizam were defeated. Bajirao succeeded Shahu and overloaded the rest of the tributes. This helped to receive the transmission of Deccan. The Maratha dominance in Deccan also gave the qualities of Maratha officials and generals. Then they grew up like a Shahu and the Peshwas grew up. Next is Balaji Bajirao. His period was from 1740 to 1761. When Balaji Bajirao was the Peshwa, Emperor Shahu died at 1749. A possible succession struggle among factions of the royal family was averted, thanks to the timely invention of Balaji Bajirao. He summoned all the contending factions and forced them to accept the conditions he laid down. He decided that the capital of the kingdom would henceforward be Pune, not Satara. All power and authority was now concentrated in the Peshwa's office. Balaji Bajirao now commanded an army of paid soldiers. The Maratha peasant warrior band was reconfigured and its run came to an end. Maratha soldiers were not permitted now to retire from the battlefield each year for the purpose of cultivating their lands. Soldiers were required to live in forts and towns far away from their home. They were trained as infantrymen as well as horsemen. The large guns were nominally under the command of Maratha officers, but those who fired and maintained them were mostly Portuguese, French, and British. During the period of Peshwa Balaji Bajirao, the northern frontier of the Maratha state were rapidly touching Rajasthan, Delhi, and Punjab. At some point, the Maratha tributary regime extended itself to within 50 miles of Delhi. The Marathas launched raids from Nagpur against Bihar, Bengal, and Odisha. Notwithstanding the conflict between the Marathas and the Nizam over Tamil, Kannada, and Telugu regions were effectively brought under the control of Marathas. Between 1745 to 1751, plundering expeditions were launched yearly by the Maratha chieftain Rahuji Bonsal. So when Balaji Bajirao was Peshwa, Emperor Shahu died. And he decided that the capital of kingdom would be at Pune, but not at Sahara. The Maratha peasant warrior, they conflicted and run came to an end. They were trained with the infantrymen as well as horsemen. During this period, the northern Marathas state were rapidly touching Rajasthan. Nagpur against some places were conflicted between Marathas and Nizams at Karnataka. So between 1745 to 51, some expeditions were launched year by year to maintain the chieftain Rahuji Bonsal. Administration under Peshwa. The revenue administration of Peshwas was headed by a key official called the Kamavisdar. He was appointed by the Peshwa. He was empowered to maintain a small body of soldiers to police the administrative area from where tribute or tax had to be collected. A small staff of clerks and servants were employed to maintain the revenue records. These records were randomly checked by the office of the Peshwa. The contracts of revenue collection was actioned annually after the revenue for a particular place was estimated by the Peshwa's civil servants based on previous year yields. A prospective tax or revenue collector who won the contract was expected to have a reputation for wealth and probity. He was required to pay a portion of the whole of the anticipated revenue, one third to one half, either out of his own wealth or from the money borrowed from bankers. Judging from the ledgers of correspondence and account book, it is evident that the Peshwa were keen on accurate record keeping. The Peshwa regimes looked distinctly modern in comparison with the Mughals, to whose fall they contributed militarily. So, the revenue administration of Peshwa was headed by some officials. A small staff of clerks and servants were employed in their period. He was required a portion for the whole anticipated thing, and they has to pay one third to one half of it. The Peshwa were looking distinctly and very modern compared to the Mughals. So they maintained a ledger of about the financial things, and whatever they borrowed from the bankers, they have a clear account for them. Fall of Marathas. The imperial moment of the Marathas sadly ended at Panipat near Delhi in 1761. The Marathas attempted to extend their domain beyond Punjab was checked by the king of Afghans, Ahmad Shah Abdali. Abdali invaded 8 times before finally marching into Delhi. The Marathas were now divided among several commanders who approached the battle with different tactics. Artillery decided the battle in January 1761. The mobile artillery of the Afghans proved lethal against both Maratha cavalry and infantry. The Maratha army was shattered, and the surviving men took 6 months to return to Maharashtra from Panipat to report the tragedy. By then, the Maratha supremacy over the subcontinent was effectively over. So the imperial moment of Maratha ended near Delhi in 1761. They had extended their part nearly more than some places like Punjab, Afghans, everywhere. And Abdali invaded 8 times before he got into the Delhi. And the artillery decided their battle in January 1761. By then, the Maratha as a subcontinent was effectively over then. Now, let's recall. Maratha administration under Shivaji is highlighted. Maratha affairs after the death of Shivaji under Shambhuji and Shahu are analyzed. Peshwas emerging de facto rulers and their contribution to the continuance of Maratha power are explained. Modernization of administration under the Peshwa and the end of Maratha supremacy after the third battle of Panipat are detailed in it. Now let's conclude the class with the learning outcome. We have examined how the Marathas were responsible for the decline of Mughals, and we have learnt or we have assessed the role of Peshwas in carrying the Maratha power. Healthy eyes, follow these simple easy eye exercise. Children, focus on your thumb by zooming inward and outward. Bring your thumb closer to your eyes and away from your eyes. Take a pencil and look at the point of the tip so that you can focus your eyes on it. Bring it closer, again back. Closer, back. Now, the same way, take the tip of the pencil and keep it straight to your eyes and practice once more. Bring it closer and bring it back. Close your eyes for few seconds. with your palm so that your eyes will be relaxed. You can now move your eyes right, above, left, down. Again, left, up, right, down. Rotate your eyes in all the directions, starting from right side and again from the left side. Practice once more. Now children, wash your face with clean water, which is in your room temperature. Children, after the prayer, I will send you some links to complete your worksheet. Open the link and copy down the questions and answers in your notebook and send a photocopy to me. And let's conclude the class with the prayer. Slowly close your eyes. Let's all close our eyes. Take deep breath. Chant Om 3 times.
पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम